Good morning. I'm just trying to pay my credit cards, pay some purchases that I put on my credit cards, and I'd like to show you uh, a trick. I'm sure maybe you might know about it already, but just in case you don't, if you, it's not something that I'm advising to do, but if you are in a situation that you need to charge your credit card and you don't have the amount to pay back right away, or to turn and pay back your credit cards, you can use that strategy. For example, if you don't have some money in your saving account and something broke in your house, you have to fix it. Yeah, well, you can use this strategy, charge your credit cards and buy some time to pay back. So credit cards company, they have a way of charging, like when you use your credit card, they have a period of time before that the statement, the window will close, and then they'll have a due date to pay the amount by before they'll start charging interest. So depending on the situation you are in, the best things to do is when you charge your credit card a few days later, you can just pay it back. But if you cannot, you can try to see when the windows end, and if you are not in a rush, you can charge the credit cards after that window, and you can buy some time to yourself. Let me give you, look, I'm trying to pay my credit cards right now, and I have the example here that I can show you that can explain it better. So we have a plumber that came to fix our sink in January, and I asked my husband to pay with credit cards, and I thought they would just have a machine that he would swipe the card, but then they went and record the information on the credit card. So in February, when I went in to pay the card, because I used it to pay for my cell phone, I didn't see that transaction on it. So then I know that they didn't charge the card right away when they took the information. So later in February, I noticed, I saw the transaction. So now that is the 4th of March, and I wanted to pay my credit card purchases, and then I have that situation when it showed me a minimum due 0. Is because the day they charged the card was after the closing date of that window, that statement. So I don't have anything to pay in March, and I'll probably have a due date in April for something that was charged in February. So it's giving me more than a month to come up with that amount to pay the credit card back in full without being charged interest rate. So that works when you don't have balance transfer on your credit card. There is Bank of America that charge interest rate on every single purchase that you make if you have a balance transfer on the card. Discover does not do that. So my husband has Bank of America that he transfer money to, and he transfer money to like he transfer credit card there to Bank of America from Discover, and transfer credit card debt from Bank of America to Discover. So he switched the debts. He got credit card debt of $15,000 due to a scam on both credit cards. So he switched them through balance transfer to have the 0% for a year. So when he did that, and he started charging his cell phone on Bank of America, the first year they charged him interest rates. So I called him up on that, and he called them, found out that they do that when they have a balance transfer. So this strategy is not going to work if you are using Bank of America and you have a balance transfer there. So you might want to check with other credit cards. But I know, so I asked him to call Discover. And Discover does not do that. So he has balance transfer there, but they don't do that. So he transferred his cell phone payment. In fact, I think it was cell phone and Hulu, I believe. So he transferred those to Discover, so that when they charge every month, he can just, in addition to what he's paying toward the debt that he has there, he's paying the full amount of his cell phone and Hulu as well. So Discover is not charging interest on purchases, even though he has balance transfer there, as long as he pay the purchases within the time frame. So when he pay excess than the minimum due, they apply the minimum due to the balance transfer and the excess to the purchases. So he's paying more than that because he's paying extra toward the debts. So they'll apply the minimum to the balance transfer, the minimum, and then whatever the purchases is, they'll apply the amount to that, and if there is an extra, they'll apply that to the balance transfer as well. So, but now what I wanted to show, you can work with Discover if you have a balance transfer there. But if you don't have balance transfer on your credit card and they don't charge you interest on every single purchase, as long as you pay within your window, because I have zero or balance on my credit card, and when I make purchases I pay in full. So if you are in that situation, your credit card is zero balance, and you want to put a purchase on it, and you are on tight budgets, you cannot pay off in full right away. You can buy some time, like more than a month, by using this strategy. Charge your card after the end of the transaction date window, and then you'll be able to have a month and a half, if not more, to come up with the amount to pay in full without paying any interest rates on it. So let me show you the situation that I have here. First, let me log back in, because I'm sure they locked me out. And it's loading. Let's see if we can look at it. So as you can see here, that's the debt that I have there on my CD. And okay, they say that statement closing March 9. The statement balance 0. Minimum due 0. Due by March 6. That's what I'm talking about. But this transaction, they happen in February. So that means I can assume that in February, the statement closing was, if they use fixed date, the statement closing was February 9. And anything that happened after February 9, didn't fall under this window, because when you make a purchase, assuming that they close the statement on February 9, so anything you purchase before February 9 will have up to March 6 to be paid in full to avoid interest rates. But since the transaction went in after February 9, they closed that window on February 9, and the due date was March 6, and I didn't have any transaction before February 9, so minimum due was 0. Now statement closing is March 9, so it's March 4th today, and if I don't make any purchases until 9, 9th of March, that means in April, anything that is due by April 6th, in fact, it won't even fall under April 6th, because what is due by March 6th was what happened before February 9. So anything that will happen, if I make a purchase before March 9, it might be due in April 6th. But if I make a purchase like on March 10, it might be due in May 6th. Does that make sense? So it's about almost 2 months, 4 days, 3 days before 2 months, short away from 2 months. So if I'm not confusing you, so now let's show you when those transactions was charged to my account. So I'm just going to scroll down. No, it's not at the bottom. Let me click on the number here. It's taking a little time to load. So when I click on the account number, you can see the same thing here. So let me scroll it down to see if I will see what I'm looking for. So you can see here that, well, did you even see that for like this one that I didn't even did it on purpose though. I made that transaction myself. It was one of my businesses. It was a new business that I filed with the state to be an LLC, and I paid $50, and it happened on February 10th. So because it's a new business, it does not have a bank account, I just used a CD. It was, in fact, the reason why I use Citi, because it's a card that I was wondering if I should cancel it or not, And then I said, okay, so maybe that business might just use it. So I went, without even thinking, I went and I made that purchase. So if I have made it probably February 9, the due date March 6, I will have that amount there to be paid. So purchasing something before February 9, I have until March 6 to pay. So that is about a month, right? So now that it hit the account on February 10th, it is March 4th, and the due date of March 6th, the minimum balance is 0 because it happened before February 9. Now I have these transactions. I purchased a theme for my website, and I put it on the card as well on February 9. Even though I have those two transactions here that happened early in February, in March, I don't have to pay for them. So that's what I wanted to share with you, that if you are on tight budget, you can buy yourself some time by using this strategy and charge your card purposely after the closing of that statement, so that you can buy yourself a month or two to pay back in full. So probably those payments will show up, or the minimum due will show up on the due, like after March 9, they will post the payment, the minimum due there to be paid by April 6. So even though it happened in February, I have the whole month of March and a chunk amount of February and a whole month whole month of March to come up with that amount to pay by April 6th. So that's how much you can buy yourself a month and a half, if not more, to pay back. So let me show you Discover. I came across a similar things on Discover as well. I went and I paid them in full because I don't want to come back and to do that. Since I'm paying them in full, I just wanted to do that, to pay all the card at once. So, and I save up for those purchases. You know, we have irregular expenses account, like we just put in the saving, but we take those expenses into consideration because we don't save for emergency, but we do have we do think about expenses that we might have to face and save for those expenses. So it helps to do that so that we can pay those expenses in full without getting into more debts. So I'm going to open Discover here, and there I have some expenses as well, but I was told that I don't need to pay them. So let's take a look at that. Excuse me. So we have Discover here. And as you can see, I have $85.99 there that is due. And last statement balance is 0 on February 5th or February 5th. So no minimum due. And the last statement was $841. Even that day I was kind of, because I remember that I didn't pay on time. And then I said, okay, so my cell phone, I have a cell phone with Tello. To decrease our expenses, we switched from Verizon to small carrier Tello. Tello is a Sprint carrier, I believe. So, yeah, I think they use Sprint towers. So it's $8.41 a month for me, and so I didn't remember paying it. And then I went there at the end of January to pay, and the same thing happened. They said the minimum balance was 0, and I think it has something to do with when I pay the previous one, the December fee. So I went and I paid anyway. So the same thing is, so they are saying that I paid this on January 31st. So probably I pay within before the closing date. I don't know how I'll explain that, but anyway, so this amount is due, and I have minimum balance here, and the last statement. So here is not even showing me the new, like what will be due in March or anything like that. And I believe because today is March 4th, it has to be March 5th before we can see when the new payment is due. But pretty much it's telling me that I don't have anything to pay, and so therefore it's not even showing me when the minimum due is due by. So now let's go down and see what the $85 is about and when it was charged to the account. And remember, the last statement balance, they say it was $0 on February 5th. So probably I charged the card after that. So let's take a look at it. So here, let me show you. I just went, I paid this one. I paid CD through my bank, and I paid this one right through the website. So that's why it's showing okay, so the I should pay this as well. So yeah, my husband charged this too recently, so we need to pay that. So pretty much what this one is, he liked to eat a sweet and sour. He couldn't find it online or through Walmart where he used to purchase it, and he found it from this website. And I said, okay, well, he can just charge it to my card, and we'll take that out of the excess that he's going to pay toward his credit card debt to cover, because the food expense the food budget cannot afford his sweet and sour. He's the only one that uses it when I make egg roll. So, and he purchased like 2 gallons with the shipping cost that amount. So we are going to, the amount he's going to pay extra toward his credit card debt, we are going to take that amount out of there, keep it in the checking account so that I can pay for that, because it's not going to come out of my food budget. So as you can see, February 8th is when the plumber that we pay back in January charged the credit cards. So probably few days after Discover closed their statements. And then on February 24th, I paid the cell phone charge the account. And March 1st, my husband charged the account as well. So all 3 together, in fact, this one has not even hit the account yet. So I think I might wait until it hit a few days, and then I'll come back and pay. I think it might be what I will do. But as you can see, those 2 that has been charged to the account in February, I don't have to pay them in March. And it might probably be early April that the minimum will be due, or I should pay in full by, to avoid interest. So that's how you can buy yourself some time if you are on tight budget, or you have some financial issues and you cannot pay your bill in full, or there is some unexpected expenses that you need to pay for, and it's important you can put that on your credit card. If you can wait few days to stay, to cross that window, that date line, so that you can buy yourself some more time to pay back. But if it's very important, you have to charge it right away, well, yeah, you might still have a month to pay that back in full. So thank you for watching. I'm Afiavio June, Liberman, creators of Liberman Consulting L.L.C YouTube channel and owners of Nina Soap. And our website is ninasoap.com.